Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ground Up podcast. I am your host, Terry Bargy, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, and he loves it when I call him lovely.
Lovely, yes. Exfoliated, so I'm lovely.
Roy Mangrum's in the house, everybody.
Hello, hello.
We pride ourselves away from expo planning and world domination to pop on this podcast today with a very special guest, and that is Vanessa Hampton. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
We are in the B2 Wellness Suites in the lovely NFM penthouse, as we like to refer to it, which was made possible by this woman right here, Vanessa. So, I'm excited to talk to you, and I'm excited for you two to get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa and I sat in here in these two chairs, and we just went to town talking about business we realized we actually have to work for about an hour a week ago, and both kind of felt like refreshed and like motivated again.
Therapy.
And yeah, it is therapy. A little bit of therapy, and Roy knows this because we do it to one another all the time. Without the partnership, like this gets really, really hard sometimes.
Lonely. It's a lonely road.
So having a sounding board, even if you're bouncing stupid ideas off of them, and they're telling you to nope, that's not going to work. Get back to work. It's great.
Yeah.
You're just stuck in the mud with your ideas.
Very refreshing to not be in my own thoughts all the time. And actually being able to talk through with some of the things with you.
Yeah, it's always a good time. So this podcast is meant for that, right? The podcast is not the highlight reel that you would see on Instagram, and we like to joke that we are real entrepreneurs, not the ones posing in front of rented Lamborghinis.
There's no rented Lamborghinis.
No rented Lamborghinis. Yes, I beat Roy to the punch.
You did.
And we also like to highlight what it takes for entrepreneurial success. And we do that, and we try to have as much fun as possible. We hope that you listen to this podcast and you pull out actionable steps to improve your entrepreneurial journey. So we always want to leave people with that as well. So that was a long intro, but let's get into it.
It was a long intro.
Yeah.
But you did great.
Well, thanks.
You two cue cards.
Yes. Where's over here? Put them down real quick when the camera comes on. You two actually have a similar background, not exactly the same thing, but you come from more like you did.
My mother.
More. Well, that's
too.
So if that's the case.
There's
there's the connection.
There's the tie.
You spent some time though in the mortgage world.
Yep.
And she spent time in the finance world.
Mm-hmm.
22 years.
19 here.
Ugh.
Yeah.
We're survivors.
Survivors. Yes.
What a brutal industry.
It's very cutthroat.
Well, I mean, it's just so up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it gets great, just know the bottom's coming. The bottom is coming. It's never always great.
That's
it's like
true.
every 4 years.
Kind of like entrepreneurship.
Yeah. No
Odd
kidding.
similarities.
I got out of one boat into the next one and went, oh, this one doesn't run well either.
I see some similarities here.
But lots of lessons from the mortgage world.
Well, Vanessa, I'd like to get into your story, but before we talk about what B2 Wellness Suites is and what you're doing now, we want to go back in time a little bit and talk about your occupational journey before it became an entrepreneurial one. What pushed you over the edge of being like, these fluorescent lights and this 9-to-5er isn't going to work for me? This good paycheck is too good.
Well, it was never too good, but I started in finance out of necessity. I was young and needed a job, and so I started in finance. My aunt worked in finance, and so it just kind of, it just made sense. It was to make money. And so once I got in there, I was getting all my licenses and my certifications and anything that I could to advance. I was motivated by that, but every time I would get something, I'd be like, oh yeah, and then uninspired again. So as soon as I conquered it, as soon as I mastered it, it was on to the next thing, and it just was I never felt it from the inside. And so through life happening and being in a very toxic marriage at the time, finally decided to start taking control of some things that I could, and started in the gym. At 35, I had never worked out before, and so I started in the gym, and man, that was it. I found it. I started feeling things. The passion started from the inside, and started feeling like I was more in control of who I was. And so through that, because of my age, I think I told you I was sitting there one day. I remember it very clearly, and I was on the treadmill. I actually started doing once I started in. I tend to be 150% in. If I'm 1% in, it's 150% in. There's no like
all gas,
in
no
between.
brakes.
Yeah. So I once I was in the gym about a year and felt better in control of my body and all that, I started training for bodybuilding shows. Why? I had no business being on stage, but it gave me a goal. And
Yeah.
so anyways, being in the gym, as much as I was watching a trainer one day, and this person was on their machine, and the trainer was just on their phone, not even looking at the person. And I just was so emotional about my own journey with feeling like I was having some control and making some changes, that I thought, I have some value to add here. That person may need, that may be the answer to that person getting on the other side of where they're at, and they're not being paid attention to. So through that, I became a trainer and started doing it before and after my office job. I never intended to be a trainer full time. I just knew that that was what I loved. But one day I was driving to the office, and I had just left my 5 a.m. clients, and it was like a joy kill driving to the office. And I thought, you know what? I don't have to do this anymore. And so at that point, I started preparing for 9 months financially. My son was in high school at that point, or was graduating and going to college at that point, so he didn't need me on the same level that he had before. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do this. This is what I'm meant to be doing. This is what it feels like to be doing what you're passionate about. And so that started the journey. I went into personal training. Again, even then, not intending to do it full time. I was working for a physical therapy clinic. I helped open a physical therapy clinic in Mount Juliet while I was doing training part time. But then, as you guys know, when you're doing what you love, people just keep coming.
Sure.
So until I did that for about a year, and finally the training was, the physical therapy clinic was getting in the way of me. I was having to start turning people away on the training front, and I wasn't going to do that. So it just kind of kept going. But
Nice.
yeah, so that with owning my own business, I can kind of create the things that I'm engaged in. And so the mindset hasn't changed. Once I'm master something, then I'm on to something else, but I can create what that looks like with being an entrepreneur.
I mean, clearly that's where we're at, yeah.
Yeah, therefore adding massage therapy, building a team of trainers and massage therapists over the years, and then ultimately last year B2. So yeah.
And now I'm like, I want to do it too. This sounds awesome. And Roy's like, no, stop it. Let's talk about the timeline real quick. From you realizing that I don't have to do this anymore to going and then actually quitting your job. What time frame?
It was about 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah, I had a car loan. I paid off my car loan. I was just financially it wasn't a 6-figure salary, but it was up there to, at that point I was working in a big box gym, which I didn't stay there long, but I was working in a big box gym and making $14 an hour.
Sure.
But again, it sounds crazy, but I didn't care. And I literally was lit up with the fire of, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So
9 months. And I'll point that out because, I mean, oftentimes people make the leap without calculating the cost and then doing something about that part, so that there's less risk involved, right, in that jump. And that could be building up a nest egg or paying off a bunch of debt.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, you did that too.
Yep.
You paid yourself over the course of a year?
Yep, 1 year.
yeah.
Put it into a separate account.
Yeah.
That way, if everything went off the rails, I'm still getting a paycheck for the next year.
Yep.
Yeah, I was willing to hold. It wouldn't have been the first time in my life that I had held multiple jobs, and I was willing to do that to be able to make this shift. I just remember when I tell people this every once in a while, but when I was in that place in life where I was working in finance, I specifically remember driving down the road again. That's when all the the thoughts happened, but I remember thinking, is this what happy is? Because I didn't feel it. I mean, I
Sure,
seriously was trying to explore, like everybody says, well, you're happy. You have this, you have this, you have this. But I didn't feel it. And
No.
until you feel it, you don't know. I mean, you may not know that you're not feeling it, but when I found it, you know, so yeah. 9 months.
9 months at home, if you're listening, 9 months and properly prepared. 1 year, don't do like I did. And when I remember giving my 30-day notice to my landscaping job in my early 20s, I said, I'm out of here, I'm starting my business. My employer looked at me and said, I hope you got a 30-day or 60-day nest egg built up.
Yeah, what?
And I was like,
What's that?
Yeah. What's a nest egg?
Well, and it's
So,
still
yeah.
the thing that to emphasize, and I'm sure you'll agree, it's still scary. It's,
it's-
still extremely scary when you make
100%.
that leap. But you have to prioritize: are you more scared, or are you more determined to make the leap?
That's a great way to say it.
The guy I was on the phone with a second ago,
Yeah.
before we started recording, used to work for me, and he's laughing. He's like, I see you online, whatever. And I said, yeah, it's just as stressful. It's just totally different. I can control
Yep.
these
Yeah.
things. Like, if I need to make more money, go sell more stuff. Pretty easy.
Yep.
It's not complicated.
Yep.
But, when you work for corporate America and things are terrible, they're just like, oh, let's cut 50% of your staff. I'm like, dude, seriously? How about one of y'all take a pay cut? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Or let's,
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
try
it's,
different coffee.
It's not a walk in the park. There has been many times over my career of owning my own business. I'm sure that both of y'all can relate, but there's been many times that I thought I would take a 9-to-5 job today, just to be able to cut it off and shut it down
yeah.
and not have that stress level. But that's just a fleeting thought. Like, I would never do that. I don't want that. I would take this all day long, but anybody that thinks that it's just a walk in the park when you do that, it's never. There's a lot of different stressors. It's, to me, well worth it, and good stressors. It's
Yeah.
totally different, but yeah.
Fleeting thought was, I was going to say it before you said it,
Yeah.
but it's exactly what it is.
Right.
You're like, for that moment, you're like, it'd be nice to just go on vacation and go on
Let
vacation.
somebody else drive this train for a minute, but
Yeah, but no, it's like, it's my train.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Sounds very familiar to my weekend. Working all the way down to Florida, and then taking the weekend, and then working all the way back up from Florida. Some of that's because it's easier to work in a concentrated environment.
Amen. I love car trips. I get
Yeah.
so much done on car
Right.
trips.
Concentrated environment's really nice. But I also love the NFM Penthouse for the reason of community too, because you can really bounce ideas off of.
Because we have a
each other.
studio audience today.
We do. They're in the background and they're being very, very quiet, and I really appreciate that. So, let's go back to your timeline. How long was it before you were full time, like making making a living that's somewhat comparable to, in training? Like, you didn't stay at the box gym for very long. Where did you go after that? Like,
I started my own thing.
you did?
Yeah. Body Balance with B. That was.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was,
I've heard of this.
yeah. When I was, you have?
Yeah. Like, hold on. What year was this?
So I was Body Balance with V up until the beginning of last year, and then
Yeah.
I rebranded to Body Well.
Okay.
So yeah, I was Body Balance with V for 10. No, it would have been about 13 or 14 years.
I think I remember the name, thinking that's a really good name.
Well, when I went to get my personal trainer certification, one of the things I just did ISSA to start with, and then went back and got the NASM. But when I first did the ISSA, one of the requirements was that you write basically a business plan, and
Yep.
it had to have a business name, and that was the business name. So that's what I rolled with. But at that, just a little side note, I changed it. I wanted to change it long before last year, just because I have built a team, and I wanted it to be more about my team instead of me.
I love that.
A long time ago, I wanted it to be that way. It's a daunting task
Yeah.
when you're so busy to try to think about rebranding. So
Yeah. You think about it, and that's about where
yeah,
it stops.
exactly.
I got
Should
that.
rebrand. And off to the
And we're
next
done.
All right. And then somebody comes along. Have you considered a rebrand? And you're like, I've been
Yep.
considering it. Pulling the trigger is the trick.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that all the time. Sometimes I get that from my staff too. It's like, no, I understand. That's we're going there. Just
One
you
step
could
at
be
a
a
time.
part of that if you'd like.
Yeah.
To drive the ship that direction.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I didn't realize I didn't make that connection.
Yeah. So, what did you originally ask me?
What was the timeline for kind of scaling that first from box gym to your own thing?
Gotcha. Yeah, I was not in the box gym long at all. So funny little thought thing. My brother actually was the head trainer at the gym that I worked at. He was he brought me up in fitness. He raised me in fitness is how I like to say it. But I was working for him as a personal trainer, and I can't even remember the gym it was at this point, but yeah, it wasn't long because they had this big box gym was putting people on these plans where they had these monthly payment plans for like a year, but they only got training for like 3 months. And so, yeah, so they would have like 3 training sessions a week for the first month, and then they'd go to 2, and then they'd go to 1, and then they've got 7 more months of
Figure it out yourself.
payment.
Right.
And then and so I was to the point where I had clients that I was making progress with as soon as their training sessions dropped off, and I wasn't just going to tell them no. So I was training people for free, and they didn't like that. So that's when I decided I needed to leave and do my own thing. So it wasn't comparable salary did not come for a while, but doing my own thing, I was not in the gym 6 months even before I started, but I was doing several things, like most trainers do when they start and a long time through their career. I was involved in several different things, doing personal training, my own thing, and working contract work for other places.
Gotcha. When I go back to think about how you talk about, evolving and changing a little bit as you go, which I think evolving is the right word. I think sometimes the other word would be shiny things, right? Where you get easily distracted by what looks like the next thing.
Yeah.
You stayed in your football field though, and I think that's important. And I kind of want to go down that route real quick. So you started, with training, and then you went into PT?
Massage therapy.
Massage therapy.
Yeah.
So what was that evolution like, and why?
So at 35 as well, one of the reasons, a little piece to that, I found the gym because I started having back issues at 35, and I was like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And so with the back issues, I have advanced arthritis in my back, which I don't suffer with anymore. But I went to PT, and I was in physical therapy because I believed in being able to take control, not pills and surgery and all of that. And so I had a fantastic physical therapist, and so I was in PT for like 2 years. And that's where I really started building the foundation of how I wanted to help other people with fitness in a more holistic way. And so I went into, and I think I'm going back to I get so many thoughts going on that it's like all over the place. What was he asking me again? So anyways, through that, is that what you asked me, is how I evolved to
how'd you get
massage?
Yeah.
Okay, so after 4 or 5 years, I lead by instinct, and I was ready for something else. I felt like there was something missing, and I think part of that is because I do naturally think more holistically, and personal training fitness is not all there is. There's so many more components to it.
Yeah.
So I would send people to massage therapy, I would send them to PT, I would send them, and I had no desire to go back to school to become a physical therapist. First of all, I knew what that looked like as far as taking insurance and all of that, because I had helped open the clinic in the meantime, but I wanted to be able to make more of an impact hands-on. And so that's why I decided to go to massage therapy school. And I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to use it personally, but I knew I wanted to have massage therapy on my team and be able to have that component of what I offered. But I also had learned that unless I am doing the thing, I don't feel like I can relate to the thing as well, and I can't promote that. I can't be convincing to other people that that's what they need if I'm not able to see both sides of it. So I went to night school for massage therapy for a year. That was 5 years ago. I graduated 5 years ago, so I graduated during COVID. And then had hired out of the gate 2 massage therapists. I opened my massage offices during COVID, one in Mount Juliet and one here. I never intended to do that both at the same time, but
But why not?
rent was cheap at that point. So I was like, well, I know I can make it work for a year, and then if one of the offices is not working, then I just won't do it. But yeah, so that, because I already had a trusted network in the Mount Juliet area at that point, I knew that the massage side of that was going to be able to, they trusted me already, so I already had an existing network, and then more on the fitness side in this side of town and Brentwood side of town. So yeah, that's why I opened both offices then. So that was, like I said, 5 years ago.
And this is still going right now, like the fitness side and the massage side.
Correct. So Bodywell still exists. We have offices in Mount Juliet here, in B2 in both places, and then Nashville, we are partners with Members Health Co. Out of Nashville.
Nice.
So yeah, I have a team. I have 4 trainers and 4 massage therapists that work at the different offices and locations here and there.
What are some of the things you've experienced with, leading trainers? Like, has it been the same for people? Like, what's that?
No, so I lead from a place of of things that I have learned, things that I know I don't want from working with somebody else. I always try to be super respectful. So the way that I have my people are independent contractors, because basically I see my role as lifting them up and supporting them in what they're doing. Not that I'm the one they're working for me as a boss. I mean, I'm driving the ship, but I want them to, I try to support them in what their forte is as trainers, as massage therapists. And I really approach everything as a team from that standpoint. So I'm very picky about who I hire. Very picky, and it took me a long time. That was the first piece where I started expanding, was I had so much business as a personal trainer that I can't stomach telling people that I can't help them. Yeah. And so that's when I started. It took me a long time to decide to bring on somebody else, because having somebody that was going to function with the same integrity and the same name that I had already built, that was
that's a scary thing.
It is a scary thing. Body balance with V.
That's you.
It's me.
It's literally my name. Yeah.
It's literally my name.
They walk in, Terry, I thought it was B.
Yeah.
Pictured someone less beardy.
Yeah. Less dude-like.
Yeah.
But I approach things in that standpoint. I do a very, very fair and competitive payout, because I want them to take it on as their own. So a lot of the trainers and therapists, I only have one newer therapist on my team. Everybody else has been with me for multiple years, because I always just try to move with them instead of it's my way or the highway. That's not how I function. So.
Well, I think that's smart. I've definitely, Roy and I both try to do that with our team members as well. I don't think sometimes they believe that we want their opinion and kind of like, some of that melting pot into where fitness is going. We certainly do. I don't think we're sitting up here claiming that we know everything about the industry. We know a lot about the business, though. Like the business side, we definitely know a lot about. So that's when I get into that as well. So like the business side of fitness doesn't always run that well. So what tips before we move on to B2 and what you're doing now? What is some quick advice that you can give to a gym owner or a general manager or a personal trainer who's just personal trainers just starting out, right? they do come in, and I've had this 9 times out of 10. You have them get their CPT certification, and they're like, "All right, where's the clients?"
Right.
It's like, well, it's a little more complicated than
Yeah.
Gotta go find them.
you gotta go find them. And then there's not a lot of general managers or like those spots in the industry here in the gyms. I'm speaking specifically to gyms. That spot's hard to keep filled because of similar traits that you have, like up and out, up and out, up and out, all the way. So, like, what is some advice that you have in that area as far as the business side?
For trainers starting out?
Yeah, start there.
Yeah. So I think, well, there's 2 big points. The very first thing was because of the way that I got into this is I don't sacrifice my own well-being and workouts for other people's. And that was huge for me going into this, is because I didn't want to lose the fire of what I was feeling. And I knew that I had seen burnout, what that looked like already with trainers that I was working with. They were sitting in the back eating McDonald's and really, not talking nicely about the clients that they had. And I was not going to be that person. So I think that, but also you can't go into this to do it for money. It's part of it, and you can be really successful at it. But in my experience, everybody that I have met, whether you're a trainer or any kind of person that is in a business of helping others, if you are doing it for the right reasons, then it is going to come back to you. But I've had a lot of people ask me why over the years, well, why don't you get your own gym? Well, for me personally, I didn't ever want to lose that piece of it. And so I knew that if at some point it became about paying bills for me, then that other side of that, of sacrificing why I was doing it to start with, that's the balance. And I think you have to figure out, no matter which aspect. I mean, I have brick and mortars now, but it took me a while because I was scared of that, of getting off balance with that. So I think no matter how you approach fitness, whatever aspect of it that you are doing, you have to figure out what that balance is for you. It can't just be about money when you're talking about helping other people.
Passion has to be a bit of a driver, right? Like,
Pursue the passion.
Yeah.
I see that in you on a lot of different levels. So I could definitely see how it was in fitness, like ultimately just wanting to help people at any cost.
And there is a balance. I mean, it's taken me, and it's easier for me with my team for me to set boundaries for them, for their sake, than it is for my own sake. And I see this with a lot of trainers and massage therapists. It's the same type of thing, and other wellness professionals. We are willing to, you can willing to cut your prices, or willing to, give to your own detriment. That's what I always tell my team, is don't give to your own detriment, because then if you are taking from yourself, you don't have that left to offer other people.
Right.
So, I think it's a balance, but it also takes a lot of experience of being able to respectfully and with love set those boundaries for yourself of what you will and won't do. It's not just, you can't just completely sacrifice.
Yeah, I get that. The passion part's important. I think that's for sure true. Like, you not wanting to, like, you want to be about the people, right? What's the business crossover? Like, how did you get to the point where you can start bringing on, was it word of mouth marketing? Was it just a quality product? Like, did you find your niche with the clientele?
For training?
Yeah, for training specifically. I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, I imagine there's some similarities there, across the board anyway, but.
There is. I think it was more, I set myself up to a point where when I was working for a certain demographic, like my age, working people, the time, very logistically, the time of day, it felt like 2 different days in one, because I would be training really early in the morning for those people before work, and then I would be training after work, or after work for people. So, trying to catch a nap in the middle of the day, because the hours are like you're working, what that life is like. So one thing that I implemented, I put myself among a big part of the training that I do is for the Del Webb community in Mount Juliet, and that's a 55 plus community. So they're retirement age. So it's a totally different time frame. So I would cater to the people that I was, that were the working people before and after work, but I would also be able to fill that middle of the day so that I was able to start whittling it down to where it was a better, more even schedule for myself. So that's important, not just putting all of your eggs in one basket with how you're approaching your marketing and trying to promote yourself.
No, that's great.
That sounds like a solid 14, 16-hour day.
It was for a little while until again, I mentioned that didn't start this till I was 35.
Yeah.
So the passion only takes you so far when your age catches up with you.
Oh, these feet hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say that. I'm probably too much. Like passion's a good jump start, but ultimately at some point, it doesn't pay the bills.
No, I mean, it's experience. That's been the biggest thing is there was a lot of things. I just have always tried to take everything that I learn and experience, good and bad, and the bad parts are what has really made me who I am. But I try to say, okay, how am I going to do this better? And that's day to day, month to month, week to week, year to year. What can I do, even small, to improve here? So yeah, I've done those days. You need to do those days. You can't go into this. I think one of the things that I hear from people is that they see like where you're at, and they think, okay, yeah, I mean, like I can do that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
you
easy.
do have to work for it. There is going to be times where you're going to have 14, 16-hour days. There is going to be time where it's going to be uncomfortable, but you have to get uncomfortable with you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable to get where you want to go. It takes time.
That's the separator.
That is the separator.
Yep.
That will differentiate you from others in a heartbeat.
100%. 100%.
And we're still, like Roy and I are still kind of in that spot, and it's seasonal, but I know we're burning the candle at both ends with getting ready for the expo. And,
yep. Same thing, doing all the things that I'm doing in health and fitness. It's good, and that's what I keep telling my husband is like, this is just my temporary. So just bear with me while I get to this next.
Oh, so you do that
step.
too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I get it.
He's getting better at accepting it, but it won't always be like this.
I try to remind myself that it's temporary.
That too.
That part's hard.
Yeah.
Because there's that startup mentality that requires, and I guess this is super important. If you hear nothing else on this podcast, that startup period requires all of you, and it may require all of you for 12, 16 hours a day for 2 to 3 years. Obviously, we're here to try to help you offset some of that. I mean, tricks and tips are helpful. Reading books and being part of a community, getting a coach, so all that stuff will help, and it'll help lessen that amount of time. But you got to know it's coming. That's from
you have
3
to be
people
willing. Yeah.
telling you that's a real part of this
make
equation.
it to the other side.
It's
what it takes.
It's a real part of the equation. The danger is staying there, right? The danger is staying stuck in startup mentality, even once you have the ability to pull back a notch, and then it starts to affect your health.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this.
Yeah,
I have a hard
those
time
things.
of all these ideas come or all these things that I need to do, and I need to do them now.
Yeah, right.
Like that's my biggest challenge is, no, you really don't have to do this right now. Right now, you have to rest, because tomorrow you're going to be a whole lot more effective if you can give yourself even a couple more hours here, because I do, especially even more so starting B2 over the last year and a half or year, that's laying in bed, that like the wheels are constantly spinning, starting to sacrifice my morning workouts because, I need to get this done, and just overwhelmed by the amount of things that I am putting on my plate because I feel that urgency to do it right now. And so that's been a learned thing, even at various points during this, but especially over the last year, of no, it doesn't have to be done now, and it's okay if it waits until next week or next month, or you've got to find a little bit of a better pace to be able to sustain this.
Yeah, that's good advice right there. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get into a little bit more. And we're back. Rose going to clap us back in.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stalled
That's
you.
okay.
Should have done it. So before the break, we were talking about taking needed breaks, hence the break. Let's a lot of talk about breaks. How do you feel?
Should we take a break?
No.
Ponder that?
Was that break sponsored by?
It should have been
break.
sponsored by something that
Yeah.
had break in the term. Breakthrough wellness. No. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
There's another idea.
There's another
Yeah.
idea. There's another idea. So rest is important. We've talked about proper planning before we're launching a business. We have talked about what it looks like for passion to fuel fuel the drive of your business. Obviously, with profitability being the number one priority. We've covered a lot, the gambit of topics thus far. Let's talk a little bit about like entrepreneurship and your heart for entrepreneurs, because I feel like that's why you're here. Mm-hmm. So give me the why to B2 Wellness Suites.
So through having to, when I did finally start looking at brick and mortars for my massage business, as a side note, the personal training that I do, because I do it in communities, I don't have to have a brick and mortar for that. So we do some online things and that sort of thing, but the massage business is where I had to have the brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. Looking for office space as a small business wellness professional is miserable. You're either stuck in a closet with IT people and attorneys, and nothing against them, but it does not serve the purpose, and you're out on an island by yourself, mm-hmm. just like we talked about in the beginning, trying to do this by yourself with zero inspiration or help in any sort of way.
Collaboration.
Yeah. Exactly.
Name it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or you go to find an office space and it's 5,000 square feet with a 5-year contract, which is not accessible or necessary for most small business wellness professionals. So the vision was born multiple years ago of there's got to be a better way to do this. And so with, think Sola salons, JC salons for hair professionals, it's basically that, except for it's wellness.
Right.
And I couldn't figure out why nobody else was doing this. There's some places that have a few extra offices that they'll throw some wellness professionals mm-hmm. in, but this concept is not something that is out there. And so my entire goal is to bring community to this, mm-hmm. Because this is a place where we are building, and it's been so much more than I even envisioned in the first place. So it's permanent office spaces for wellness professionals. I've expanded 3 times now in the last year because it's been so well received.
That is crazy.
We have 30 plus, I'm on 2 floors here in Brentwood. We have 30 plus practitioners here. And then 3 weeks ago, I opened in Mount Juliet for my Body Well office, because after being able to do this here, yeah. I didn't want to be in an office space like I was yeah. before in the same type of situation. But what's really, really cool is just like the way that I approach everything that I do in business. I've been really open to the needs of all different types of wellness here and really trying to meet people where they're at. So we have everything from permanent office spaces to day rentals for people to do. We have breathwork class and meditation class and sound bath, monthly sound bath. People do networking meetings here. And so really we also do tenant socials, and that's back to your point. I want to take advantage of the fact that we're all in one place, because just like fitness, and we've talked a lot about this, it's not one thing, it's all the things, right? It's so many. We have everything from speech therapy in here to massage therapy to Nashville Fit in here. So it's all things fitness and wellness, because there isn't just one piece, and there isn't just one piece at any particular point in life. And so the way that I approach this is I approach the entrepreneurs. I'm not interested in building their client base. I'm not interested in trying to promote to their clients and patients. That's their job. What I want to do is, just like I do with my team, I want to support them and give them resources and help them be in a space with like-minded people with targeted amenities towards them, so that their business can thrive. I want to bring resources of just being around other people, of going, and they come to me a lot, of trying to build their business, or how do I get more clients? How do I get more, how do I get more exposure? We have very established businesses in here, but we also have people that are stepping out, just like I did, from working for a big box place, starting out, or people that have been working at home. We have share space where somebody that's working at home that doesn't get that interaction like what we're talking about, they can come in here 1 or 2 days a week and be able to get that without having a full-time space. We're also trying to I'm really trying to collaborate with the community in general, because I think no matter if they're doing anything with B2, I think there's so much power in all of us being together in the community. So I really try to do things that incorporate the community as a whole to support the small business wellness professional. I mean, that's all the things that I've done to this point, I feel like have led up to this, so that I'm not just helping one client, but I'm able to now help all of these businesses help all of their clients. And I think that's where the power comes in, of paying it forward, of everything that has led up to this.
That could have been an expo pitch.
That could have been an expo pitch for sure. Because that is the ultimate uniter of all three of us, I think. That's what Roy and I are passionate about. And I would say that we kind of started thinking that, and Roy, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the idea was, well, we can't let it die, right? We knew about the expo and the magazine, and we just can't let it die. And we didn't, and we had a vision for what we wanted it to look like. The expo first. I mean, Roy thought I was crazy when I said I wanted to do the magazine. I still remember pulling up to your driveway.
Yes, I did think you were crazy.
And you were like, you handed me money, and you were
Here's
like,
this money. It's like,
I'm trusting
don't know
you.
what you're doing.
I was like, I guess we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
But it's evolved so much from what we thought it could be for the community, as this central hub for gathering.
But the key thing is, the reason it has evolved is because we never forced it into a box.
Yeah.
It's just, here's this thing. What's the issues that need to be solved?
Yeah.
And then let it breathe and let it grow, and it's going to go different directions.
That's exactly what's happening here. It's the exact same thing. We did a big, I decided to hold off on an open house, like to introduce B2 to the community, until I had more tenants in here, and then it could be for mutual benefit of both the community and for the tenants. And so we did this big open house wellness fair on 2 floors in here, and that's where I think the expo is incredible, an incredible opportunity for businesses to be able to not only, it's not even about the public. I mean, it is definitely about the public. The power in doing things like that is also about the other vendors and the other people that you're making connections with and partnerships with, collaborations with through things like the expo. That's where the power comes in, because all of those people are an instant referral base for you. If you're making those connections, that's where it comes from, and that's where the power comes from, of being able to build your business through these things. It's not just about, okay, well, I got to put down a little bit of money to show up to some of these things. There's so much more that is a benefit of being involved. So kudos to you guys.
Preach. Amen.
It's
Hallelujah.
hard. I mean, I remember I try to think of it how
Clip,
I
post
was.
that.
Yeah. I try to think about how I was with just being a personal trainer and the money that I was willing to commit to. Okay, well, I know I want to grow my business, but I don't know that amount of money is going to hurt. Well, what I have learned over and over and over again, that doing things like that and actually investing in yourself and your business, that's what is going to help move
But
you
that
to the next
that
level.
comes with experience.
It does.
For sure.
'Cause
It,
the-
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first event we ever did with the clothing brand, it was like $250. I'm like, oh, I don't have $250.
That's exactly, yeah.
So I had boxes of shirts in my trunk, and I was selling them off my shoulders. And then fast forward to now, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year going to events.
It gets easier.
But
it gets easier
you know.
when you see the result of it. But yeah, it is hard to just like close your eyes and jump
Oh, I'm telling
with
you.
those things. But the things like the expo, that is, I mean, that's where it's at.
Yeah,
Clip and paste it.
I think that's
You're welcome.
There's a couple of different things that I want to go.
I'll give you money after this.
That's a giant thing that I don't think people fully understand about Barbell Voodoo though either, is that you guys have been able to scale going to events year over year. Now you've gotten wiser knowing which events to go to.
Yes.
But it's because you know your numbers.
Yeah.
And it's we do it, we take the risk, we analyze the risk, we refine it, we do it again, take the risk, and you get smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter as you go. And you don't go once, say that didn't work for me,
Right.
and I'm never doing events again. We're not an events company. You hear that from time to time, and I understand that risk can be paralyzing. But what did you learn? Did you learn anything from it?
Yeah.
Right? Did you meet anybody like that?
And that's what I was going to say. It only takes one person that you meet at some of these events to make it 10 times worth
it.
your while.
Right.
And it is what you make it too. If you sit over in a corner and you're not talking to people while you're doing these events, it's never gonna benefit you.
Good Lord.
So I mean, it is what you make it.
Preach,
If you
preach,
have
preach.
this, if you have this venue, if you have this stage where you've got people coming to you, you have to be willing to take advantage of it. And trust me, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I do not like putting myself in the middle of a bunch of people. It makes me want to cringe and crawl. But stepping up when it comes to your business and what the result of that can be, I mean, you have to step outside your box.
Well, I think a passion is an overrider of that. Because I would say I'm an introvert too. People laugh at me, but I'm a practiced extrovert, right? The
Yeah.
microphone doesn't make me comfortable, but practice did,
Yeah.
right? Like if I can overcome this, and I'm like, oh, I overcame that. Well, what else can I overcome?
Yeah.
That's the drug.
Yep.
And it's there because you want to help people, right? That's why we have this podcast. It's why we have the expo. It's why we have the magazine. It's like, yeah, there's a profit to be made, but not at the expense of you going out of business. Like we win when you win, right?
Yeah.
That's the circle of life. So yeah, you're definitely scratching our itch.
Just saying everything I say.
Say everything.
Literally put clips of me saying it in her saying
Yes.
the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
One more quick thing I want to ask you. What are you hearing from, you touched on it a little bit, but I want to kind of go back to it. What are you hearing from some of these entrepreneurs that are signing up for these spaces and that are coming to you with these burdens? Like what's the one pain point, or maybe there's more than one, but what's that one thing that you're hearing the most from them about being in business for themselves?
It's really interesting because there's not, you have some consistent things, but like I said, you have so many different businesses that are in such different places in their journey that it's different. It depends on like the ones that are out of the gate, coming from either just getting their license or their certification and starting, or coming from a big box. It's just fear. It's scary. It's putting that fear aside. And I would say even for me, I have to constantly remind myself patience. It's patience. It doesn't happen at once. And I think that what I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs that are just starting out is because that fear is still so here, it's like they they want it to happen right now. They want this uncomfortable to go away right now. And so that's a big pain point, is you have to balance that patience with, okay, I'm doing this. Are you committed? If you're committed, then you can deal with the discomfort for a while. And there's a balance too of discomfort versus it not making sense anymore, or you having to shift directions or change what this looks like.
Sure.
But so I would say out of the gate, that's the biggest things. Moving your business is always a challenge. For these established businesses, the fear is there of, are my clients or patients actually going to come? So I see that quite a bit, but that always works itself out, because I tell them too, and this is great for your entrepreneurs that are listening. If you, like when I was a trainer, I'm a really good trainer, and I know that because I would have people that would literally come train with me in a stairwell when I didn't have a place to train. If we needed to go into a building, into a stairwell, they would follow me to that stairwell. It just doesn't matter where you are if you're good at what you do. And it's not even knowing all the things, it's more about just being willing to hold people's hands, and being willing to say, I don't know, but we're going to figure it out together. That's a side tangent, but yeah, pain points with that are most of the time there's some sort of level of fear, and I think identifying what that fear is and taking yourself to worst case scenario as an entrepreneur. Okay, well, what does this look like, and what's my plan B? That's how it was when I opened B2. There was severe stress, laying in bed at night, like that heart tightening stress, like this is scary as shit, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
And that's why I'm gonna do it.
That's why I'm gonna do it. This may like crash and burn, but here's my plan B and here's my plan C for that. So I think the commitment is the big sticking point. Fears, getting past that and being willing to move past that, and then just being committed to the long haul.
Well, I think you might be not throwing yourself in this because you're a humble individual, but that hand-holding you're talking about, like that's the community part of it. The fact that you're a sounding board and you know that at all means you're already helping, right? Because sometimes it's just, you got to displace the fear.
Yeah.
Roy and I call it mental health check-ins.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And we need them. We just need them. And if we don't, we accidentally build a case against this, that, or the other, or we make a case against this is a terrible idea.
Well, I mean,
you start dismantling everything.
For dealing with personal trainers, that's exactly what you're doing on a personal training level. If you are dealing with clients, that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the mental. It starts here. So whether you're trying to train somebody to get in shape, or whether you're trying to start a business, I mean, it starts here. So that's where it always comes back, is that mental health and doing that check-in for yourself. Whether you're just trying to be in the gym or whether you're trying to run a business, you always got to come back to that.
100%. So B2 Wellness Suites in Brentwood and Mount Juliet. How do people get signed up to be a part of this wonderful community?
Visit our website and then come take a tour. This is the template for other spots. I'm just getting started with it.
There we go.
Or sidestep the tour altogether like I did, show myself in,
That's
and sit in a room.
Just email me and tell me you're moving into my conference room. And
that's how it
gets done.
So I was like, don't bother yourself coming all the way out here. I'll show myself in.
It's hilarious.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to like that dude.
Speaking of that, got to get it done now mentality. Yeah, I suffer from that.
Yeah.
I know Roy does too. It's like, or I can do it now.
Yep.
And then, what time is it? Oh, crap, it's 10:30 p.m. I should go to bed. No, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to work with you more. We've got some fun things planned for entrepreneurs and doing some networking events and things like that. I think we bring her into the Fit Pro Success Summit and have her be the speaker. I think that'd be really, really helpful.
I don't know what that is, but I like the sound of it.
Well,
it's fun.
We signed you up. You're in.
It's fun.
Okay.
It's a series we do to help entrepreneurs. They can sign up in advance, and we want to sit with them and we want to talk through where they're at in their business. So each speaker will present on something that they can apply to their business at that very moment.
Wow.
So that they can avoid some of the pitfalls and pain that they're going through. And we've got a couple of really cool success stories from just last year, like Joe being one of them from Relentless Pursuit. Ben is another one. Ben came to the Fit Pro Success Summit last year, and he's now a franchise owner for Chattanooga Fit in Chat. So that's wild to zoom out and think about. That's a promo for something else. If you're listening to this podcast, we are only, probably this will air next week, so we'll be about 3 weeks out from the Music City Fit Expo. And I just made Roy super nervous.
You got this, Roy. You've done harder
regardless
things.
Regardless if I do or don't, I do.
Yeah, that deadline's coming for us. It's not
There
the other way
are
around.
no mistakes at this point.
No, it's happy accidents.
We're live. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. When that's really that's something I wanted to spend a hot second on. You're coming to the expo, but to do something completely different. So tell us about that.
So I am all things fitness and wellness, and one of the hats I wear, I am partnered with Magic Fit, who provides fitness and wellness activities for corporate conferences, conventions, and one of the things that we do is pop-up pickleball. So
and boom.
Perfect timing.
We will be having some pop-up pickleball at the expo and some pickleball fun for people to take advantage of.
It is going to be the hottest ticket.
Yeah.
It is.
Guarantee it.
We really do have something for everybody.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sumo wrestling and pickleball. What else do you need?
Sumo wrestling. I have not heard of
Not me.
I'm
No,
so
not me. Not me. Not this year. But yes, sumo wrestling. And pickleball.
Excellent.
Yes.
So we're not a bodybuilding event.
Oh, and there's arm wrestling. I just
What?
found out.
Yeah, people think we're a body. Like, it's funny, every year there's a new stigma put on us that we
Yeah,
hear.
we were the CrossFit Expo. I'm like, we didn't have a CrossFit event.
No.
And then we were labeled the bodybuilding expo. I'm like,
We might still be living out of that one.
I don't care. I was like, but we've never had bodybuilding, so
Right.
I'm like, just shut up and show up. Just show up.
Right. Just come see what fitness
see what's
and
going on.
wellness in Nashville looks like.
Yeah, there's literally something for everybody,
Yeah.
and I will fight you if you tell me there's not. Yeah, so that's coming up. So I'm excited for you to come. We're actually going to go to the expo hall right now to go over
And
your
meet the
space.
sound guy as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Double
Killing
booked.
a bunch of
Yep.
birds.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening to this, the takeaways are plenty. There's a plethora. But you're an entrepreneur listening to this and you want to be, attached to this community. That link is below in the show notes. Hit up Vanessa. Come check out this place. It sounds like it's starting as a really good idea to have all those businesses in one spot, and it's going to turn into a lab for businesses to go from here to scalability.
Yeah, we love to do collaborations. So no matter what your focus is, we love to do collaborations. So
Yeah.
just hit me up.
So get in touch with her on that. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're not an entrepreneur and all of this sounds fun to you, subscribe to the magazine. Go check it out. Get our app. If you get our app right now, you'll get 50% off of a Music City Fit Expo ticket. And if you're fit curious, come to the Fitness Expo, the Music City Fit Expo, which is May 30th and 31st at the Nashville Fairgrounds. 120,000 square feet of fitness fun
Yes.
for the whole family.
Cram-packed.
Compact. So, Roy, do you got anything to leave the people?
No, this is awesome. This is good.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
This is great.
Yep.
Vanessa, this is probably the one of many. Like, I feel like we may bring her in every once in a while to help us interview other folks. Stoked to be here with you. So
Very excited
and
to have
collaborate on any level. So, yeah, we appreciate you tuning in. Again, if you found this helpful at all, feel free to share it with somebody that you know or love or that needs this information, and we will catch you on the next one.